Trouble making decisions is often one of the more subtle, yet most concerning signs of cognitive strain. It begins with small moments of uncertainty, hesitation in choosing between simple options, difficulty prioritizing tasks, or feeling mentally stuck when weighing pros and cons. Over time, this indecision can expand into broader struggles with judgment, planning, and confidence in one's own reasoning. What used to feel intuitive, deciding what to eat, how to respond in conversation, or when to take action, becomes draining and anxiety-provoking. Many people experiencing this don't realize that it can signal a weakening of the brain's executive functions, particularly those housed in the prefrontal cortex. This region of the brain is responsible for reasoning, impulse control, and strategic decision-making. When it begins to lose efficiency, either due to stress, fatigue, or nutrient deficiency, mental clarity erodes, and choices become harder to process. The danger is that this can spiral. The more indecision one faces, the more self-doubt grows, and the brain begins to default to avoidance rather than action, a behavioral pattern that can further reinforce cognitive stagnation. The biological and psychological roots of decision-making difficulties are complex, but often interconnected. Chronic stress, sleep deprivation, and emotional overload impair the brain's ability to weigh information effectively. Cortisol, the stress hormone, directly interferes with prefrontal activity, suppressing the very circuits responsible for judgment and logical reasoning. At the same time, stress amplifies the emotional centers of the brain, particularly the amygdala, making individuals more reactive and less rational. This imbalance leads to impulsive or avoidant choices rather than thoughtful decisions. Neurologically, this is the equivalent of driving a car with both the accelerator and the brake pressed at once. Energy is wasted, direction is unclear, and mental control diminishes. The warning here is serious. Persistent trouble making decisions may not only indicate cognitive slowing, but can also signal early changes in executive function associated with aging, or even the onset of mild cognitive impairment if left unaddressed. However, the brain's decision-making system is remarkably adaptable. With structured practice and the right environmental support, its clarity and flexibility can be restored. Digital brain training programs such as BrainHQ, Peak, or Neuronation offer specific exercises that challenge cognitive flexibility and working memory, two key skills required for effective decision-making. These exercises train the brain to switch perspectives, weigh information, and manage uncertainty under mild time pressure, which strengthens the neural circuits that handle complex thought. Engaging in these tasks for even 15 to 20 minutes a day can recondition the prefrontal cortex, increasing both mental speed and confidence in judgment. Pairing these exercises with physical movement, such as light aerobic exercise or coordination-based activities like dance or yoga, amplifies their effect. Physical activity increases blood flow to the brain and boosts levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a growth protein that helps neurons form stronger, faster connections. Movement literally gives the brain the biochemical energy it needs to think clearly. Beyond digital training, everyday life itself can become a form of decision-making therapy if approached with structure and intention. The simple act of planning your daily routine, writing down small achievable goals, and following through on them trains the brain to regain its rhythm of action and feedback. Start with small decisions. Choosing a new walking route, preparing a different breakfast, or setting specific times for reading or exercise. These seemingly trivial acts of deliberate choice rebuild confidence in your cognitive control systems. Over time, these small victories help restore the brain's sense of agency, reducing hesitation and improving judgment in more complex matters. The mind thrives on clarity and momentum. When you choose, act, and adapt regularly, you're literally strengthening your neural capacity to decide. Nutrition plays a critical role in supporting these mental processes. Decision-making demands neurotransmitters such as dopamine, serotonin, and acetylcholine, which rely on steady supplies of vitamins and amino acids to function efficiently. B vitamins, especially B6, B12, and folate, are particularly vital as they support myelin integrity and neurotransmitter synthesis. Deficiencies in these vitamins are strongly associated with confusion, mental fatigue, and poor decision-making. Incorporating foods like eggs, legumes, lentils, whole grains, and leafy greens provides these essential nutrients. Omega Three fatty acids from sources such as salmon, walnuts, and chia seeds enhance communication between neurons, making thought transmission faster and more coordinated. On the other hand, diets heavy in processed sugar, alcohol, and refined grains create oxidative stress and blood sugar fluctuations that impair mental clarity. The warning here is clear. Poor nutrition starves the brain of its building blocks for reasoning. A single nutrient-deficient meal won't cause confusion, but years of imbalance will erode cognitive decisiveness. Sleep is another crucial pillar of decision-making health. During sleep, especially deep and REM stages, the brain reviews, sorts, and organizes information from the day. This consolidation process forms the mental foundation for weighing options and predicting outcomes, two central elements of decision-making. Chronic sleep deprivation disrupts these processes, leaving the mind in a reactive rather than reflective state. People who sleep poorly often experience heightened impulsivity and indecision, oscillating between overreaction and paralysis. Consistent sleep hygiene, including fixed bedtimes, limited caffeine, and reduced exposure to screens before sleep, can dramatically improve clarity of thought. A rested brain is a decisive brain. Without proper rest, no amount of cognitive training can fully restore control. Emotion regulation is also indispensable to decision-making. Emotional storms, whether anger, anxiety, or even excitement, can hijack the brain's reasoning centers. Mindfulness, meditation, and slow breathing exercises teach the mind to observe these emotional impulses without being overwhelmed by them. Practicing this regularly increases activation in the prefrontal cortex and reduces overactivity in the amygdala, restoring the calm that decision-making requires. One effective strategy is to pause intentionally when faced with a decision. Take 3 slow breaths, assess the options, and make a choice deliberately rather than reactively. This small ritual retrains the nervous system to prioritize logic over fear or impulse. Social interaction, too, supports clear decision-making. Discussing choices with trusted friends or family helps externalize thought and refine reasoning. Dialogue encourages perspective-taking, a skill rooted in the same neural circuits as decision flexibility. Isolation, in contrast, narrows perspective and amplifies anxiety, making choices harder. Maintaining active communication and engaging in group problem-solving, whether through work, volunteering, or study, helps keep the brain's decision networks active and adaptable. The warning here is that isolation and avoidance of decision-making create a self-reinforcing loop of mental rigidity, which accelerates decline. Practically speaking, building a daily decision routine can transform hesitation into habit. Begin the day with a written list of 3 clear, achievable objectives. Throughout the day, intentionally make small choices that require evaluation, even something as simple as selecting a new route to walk or trying a different meal. Use mental exercises that require strategy, such as chess, Sudoku, or planning-based puzzles, to simulate real-world decision-making under mild pressure. End the day by reviewing your choices, what went well, what didn't, to create a feedback loop that strengthens awareness and confidence. Pair these practices with a balanced diet emphasizing B vitamin-rich foods, hydration, and at least 30 minutes of moderate physical activity. The positive truth is that the ability to make decisions can be restored and even enhanced with consistent practice. The brain's neural networks for reasoning, flexibility, and evaluation remain capable of growth well into older age. Each act of deliberate thinking rewires the mind to handle uncertainty more effectively. But the warning must also be taken seriously. Persistent decision-making difficulty, left unattended, can progress into broader executive dysfunction, affecting independence and emotional well-being. The key is early recognition and steady intervention, not waiting for the mind to recover naturally, but guiding it through structured challenge and nourishment. With time and persistence, the hesitant, overtaxed brain can regain its rhythm, replacing confusion with clarity, paralysis with action, and doubt with the quiet confidence of renewed cognitive control.